Hi everyone, this is Miss Marlene from the University Branch Library, and for today's middle school program we're going to be learning how to do some simple origami. So today we'll be learning how to do the Lucky Star origami, and also we'll learn how to make fortune tellers. The word origami is a Japanese word that translates into paper folding, and the great thing about the art of origami is that you don't have to have scissors in order to cut out the pieces. You can use your hands to fold all sorts of stuff. That is typically what traditional origami is. With the origami that we're going to be doing, it's going to be simple origami, and we are going to need a pair of scissors. Make sure you have nice, easy to use safety scissors. And we are going to learn how to make the Lucky Star origami, which will include some paper. You can use regular printer paper, 8.5 by 11, and the fortune teller will also be paper, regular type, 8.5 by 11, that eventually we are going to cut into a square. That way we can fold it easier. So if you would like to gather your supplies right now, what you'll need is some paper. So preferably printer paper. The thicker it is, the harder it is to fold. So we want to get as thin as possible. If you already have origami paper, great, you can use that. You don't have to have origami paper, but it is nice to always have that. And then if you have a ruler with you, grab your ruler, grab a pencil. That will also help you to kind of trace out some of the lines, especially when we do the Lucky Star origami. And we're gonna get ready to dive in to do some origami. So let's get to it. And don't forget, feel free to pause at any moment if you want to catch up on any of the steps that I've done. So let's get started. All right, everyone, let's get started with some origami. So we are going to learn how to make the Lucky Star origami first. And the way that it works is these instructions show you are pretty much going to make a knot in the paper. And it's interesting because usually when we think of making a knot, it's with some string, which is three-dimensional, and paper, which has this kind of two-dimensional feel, is a little interesting to make the knot. So as the instructions say, we're going to fold the paper into a knot, and that knot we want to get as close to the edge as possible, and we are going to continually fold around and around and around. So the best way to show how this is with the visuals. So I have pre-cut some paper. The cool thing about making Lucky Star origami is that you can find some designs online too. So this was a design that you could print offline. If you type in Lucky Star origami template on your search engine, you can find this. So that's what I ended up doing for this. If you don't have a printer at home or are unable to print out any templates with different designs and colors, you are able to buy some. Actually, this I bought from an Asian store up in Katy, and it comes with cool designs and patterns. It says on here Origami Star paper. I've used this a lot, and they have the instructions on here as well. So this is a really nice and neat thing to do. But if you don't have the ability to get that either, that is okay. You can use your printer paper and the ruler and pencil and draw out your lines. So a sample of the lines that you can draw out would look like this. You want to make sure that they're thin lines, evenly spaced out, just like these strips, and you can cut them, and then I'll show you how to fold them. So I like the pattern design ones just because you can make really cool, interesting, pretty kind of stars. So there's different types. You can print off these and this one as well. So this is similar to this in the sense of it kind of helps save some ink. So it only prints about half of the sheet, maybe 2/3 of the sheet is in color, and then the rest of it is blank. So let me show you guys how that is going to work out. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a piece. So I'm going to grab this little polka dot piece right here, set that to the side, and what we're going to do is we're going to make that knot first. So the knot, you are going to take your paper, you are going to fold it around. Like I said, think of it as a piece of string, but it's a 2D string, a two-dimensional string. You see how you kind of have that knot very loosely and very carefully. you are going to push this tie up. And you want to be careful because if you don't do it precisely, then you're not going to get a nice result. So that's the thing about origami. It is a very careful, patient type of craft, but the results are always really satisfying when you do get it right. So I am, you see, folding that up, and I'm trying to get as close as possible to the edge of the papers without bending or folding anything over. You want to make sure everything's nice and neat and perpendicular and parallel to each other. So I'm going to kind of slightly fold it. I'm not going to fold it too hard, but that way you can see that there is a little flap over here, and then we have the knot right here. You see, two-dimensional knot. And if you look at it, what we're going to be doing, a star has 5 points, right? And so you're going to see there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that we will be folding over. So we should be getting a very teeny tiny pentagon shape. So first off, I'm going to fold over this tab. So that way you see it's folded over. And we're doing a lot of folding here. So because the design is on this side, I'm going to fold over this way. That way the design will be visible by the time I finish completing this strip. So I'm going to fold, and when you fold, you want to make sure you fold parallel to each of the sides. So that means when I fold this side, it should match up and meet with this side, and you just keep on going. So you're going to be doing a lot of folding and a lot of flipping around, and each of the sides should flip over to the next side. So not the same side is going to be folded over. They're going to fold over each of the 5 sides. So as you can see, that's how it's going. So I'm folding over, folding over. Now I'm at the colored portion of my paper, so it's going to fold with that design in mind. It's going to look pretty neat. And you go and fold again. Keep on going. Make sure that you line it up as precisely as you can. If it's not lined up precisely, the star won't be able to bend the way that we need it to bend. So folding it over again, keep on going, folding over more. Okay, so this is the last bit that I have. So with this last bit, it's up to you. Some people like to cut off a little bit of the tip so that way you can tuck it in, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tuck it in to this little sleeve right here. But for me, because I want to stay true to the word origami, which doesn't need any cutting whatsoever, I am going to fold the tab just a little bit inside. That way, all I have to do is just tuck in this little tab inside this portion of our lucky star. So I'm going to open it up a bit, slip in the tab, make sure it is nice and even. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of push down on it, make sure everything's folded nice and neat. So now we have our pentagon shape, okay? And then what we're going to do, the last step over here, is we are going to pinch into this pentagon. And when we pinch into the pentagon, it should make the star shape. So I'm going to start off by using I have fingernails, so I'm going to use my fingernails. If you don't, you can use your just your finger or any other tool that you might have that would be easy to push in. I've seen people use, I guess, kind of like a card, like if you have a membership card or a library card, for example, or a membership card, credit card, something like that. But be very careful. I personally go with the finger route just because it's less to worry about. So as you can see, the star is kind of taking shape. So I am just pushing in every single corner and actually pushing on every single edge. That way the corners are visible. So now you can see the star is there. So that's how you make the Lucky Star origami. And the cool thing about this one is you can make a lot of these. And when you make a lot of them, you can get really cool results. For example, I made some to fit in this little itty bitty jar. And they're all different colors and types. I had a lot of fun with this one. This one contains maybe about, I would say 15 to 20 stars inside here. It's a very tiny jar. So that's really cool on how to make a small little project. But if you want to be more ambitious, you could do something like this where it's really nice and cool and it looks really neat. You can put it on your desk in your study area, just display it in your room. This one is a lot. I had made about 250 of these total, so that's why I was able to get a nice cool design. I kind of color coded them and made them look really cool. So this is just something that you can do to kind of create your own art piece and display it in your own room. So that is how to do the Lucky Star origami. And like I said, very simple. You just need long strips of paper. If they're colored, cool. If not, that's okay. Just make sure that the paper is either printer paper thickness, or I should say thinness, because if you try to use thick paper like construction paper or cardstock, it's going to be really hard to fold. So these are really, really fun to do, especially when you just want something to just kind of meditate over and just have like a little bit of peace and just do some movement with your fingers as you just think about whatever it is. So that is the Lucky Star origami. And if you want to pause right here for some practice, feel free to do so. Next up, we are going to do the fortune teller. So look forward to that. All right, everyone, now we are going to make our origami fortune teller. And some of you guys may already be familiar with how to make one of these, but if you're not, that's what we're here for. So this is a template that I found online that is really simple and easy to follow through. So we're going to read along with the steps, and then I will show you visually how it looks like so that you can see how to make your own fortune teller. So first we are going to take a square piece of paper. Now I have some square pieces of paper over here already. This is origami paper, different designs, different colors. But instead of making the fortune teller with this, I'm going to show you how to do it with printer paper, regular 8.5 by 11 size paper that you typically see in everyday life. Reason being is because that stuff is most likely what you guys already have. I know it's a little bit harder to get origami paper, especially now, but you can make a square from regular size printer paper. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now, and I have a pair of scissors with me if in case I need to use it. So when you make a square piece of paper from a rectangle, you fold it by folding it over to where you want to make sure that this side over here matches up parallel with this side over here. And you are going to fold it over. You're not going to fold it over to the corner because then you won't get a square that way. What you're going to do is you're going to fold it over to where there's going to be some left over on the side. And you want to make sure that this corner right here meets up as precisely as possible. Now it's hard to get exactly the perfect fold, but you want to get as close as you can. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to make sure everything is folded in just right. And then I am going to hold it and fold it down here and make sure that my fold goes all the way through. All right, so you should have this shape. In a weird way, it kind of looks like the start of folding a paper airplane, but what we're going to do is we are now going to cut off this portion right here. So it is up to you if you want to fold it over and then cut it, or just go straight. For me personally, I like to fold it over just to make sure I get as close as possible to when I'm cutting off this little strip that we won't need. So I just did it very lightly and grab my scissors, and we are going to cut off that portion. So we want to cut exactly right along with the edge here. And as you do that, be careful, and we should be getting a square pretty soon. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you will feel the difference if you make big miscalculations. So we have a few little pieces I'm going to cut over here. I'm going to flip it over, make sure it looks nice and even. I have some pieces right here. Fix it up, make it look nice and neat, because I want to make sure I get it as accurately as possible. All right, so we have our square. So when I open it up, it should come out to be a square. Let's take a look. Aha, exactly. It is a nice looking square. So now we actually performed the next step in our folding. So it says here that we got to take a square piece of paper, right? So we got the square piece of paper. Next up is fold it along diagonal. So that was already done by doing that process to get that rectangle sheet of paper into a square piece of paper, right? Good. All right, so now we are going to fold it again in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it across this way to get that fold. You can also fold it the opposite way to make an X. So if you were to go like this, you'll get the same result. That's the fold that we need, because what we want is we want the X fold to be visible when we move on to the next step. So I fold it over. All right, so as you can see, we have our X shape right here, right? And so next is to unfold the paper, showing the X crease, which it is there. And then we're gonna fold inside each of the corners. So you wanna make sure that when you are folding, that the paper is folding kind of inward towards you, as if it's kind of like a bowl. You don't want it like this. If you fold it like this, it's not gonna fold the right way. You wanna fold it where the paper is kind of curling up towards you. So I'm just gonna make sure my creases are nice and firm. That way you get better results. So fold it one way, fold it the other way, nice and crisp. All right, so we have our creases folding up in towards us. So now the next step, step 5, it says we are going to fold each corner to meet at the center right here. So I'm going to start with the top left corner. I'm going to fold it into the center right here and fold it over. All right. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the next corner. Fold it, and you want to get as close to the center as possible. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you get close, you should be pretty good. So I know my folding here is a little bit offset. That's okay. So we are going to fold each of the corners. Now I got the bottom right corner here. And then finally, my bottom left corner. So we just made another square, but it's just a smaller square. And we are going to fold, make sure all the creases are nice and even. All right. Okay. And now what it says, step 6, we are going to flip the resulting smaller square. So I'm going to flip it over, and now you can see the creases on the opposite side, right? And what we're going to do, number 7, this side shows that the initial X crease that we have is then going to go into step 8, which means we are going to fold in each corner into the center again. So fairly simple. I'm going to take the top, I'm going to fold it in to meet with the center. So then you should be seeing that little fold from the previous fold that we had done before in step 5 to 6. All right, so I'm going to fold in each of these sides. So that way we are making another square. And the bottom part now. All right. And finally the last side. I'm going to fold it in. All right. So now, step 9, number the flaps that open at the pairs. So this is up to you, personal preference, because 9 and 10, you can number, color, whatever it is that you feel like. So you can number the flaps inside, you can write any message or fortune inside. When you flip over, you can color the squares however you want. You can, and then you'll be able to fold it in half and make your fortune teller. So right now, I have some markers right here. I am going to number the paper. So we are going to go from 1 through 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so now I'm going to open it up, and you can write a message, whatever you like. I am going to write a message that I feel like is much needed right now, and that is smile. The next one I'm going to write in, I'm going to say blink 3 times. All right. Over here, I'm going to mark it with read a book, and then so on and so forth. So you just keep on going, making your designs, making your fortunes, and let's say I finished making those fortunes and descriptions. They can be anything. They can be funny, silly, serious if you want it to be serious. If you've ever had a magic 8-ball, you could have those types of responses like outlook, unfortunate, or whatever. Hopefully it's not, but we're going to flip this over and we are going to color it. So I am going to do the basic colors that we typically see on fortune tellers. So that is red, green, blue, and yellow. So we are going to color them. So here's the yellow side. I'm just doing a rough example. You guys can make it a lot neater if you want. So that is the yellow side. This is the red side. All right. We have green here. And finally, blue. So you guys will probably make a much neater, cooler looking fortune teller than I am right now, but I'm just showing you for demonstration purposes. So now that we have the numbering, some of our fortunes are inside here, the colors, we are going to then fold this in half. So you should have the two colors. Make sure you fold it nice and crisp. All right, so then you're going to open it up and then fold it again the other side, the opposite direction. Okay. All right. And then what you should have is this fortune teller. You can slip your fingers on the back side over here, and you bring it up and you fold it over, and that's how you have your fortune teller. So I have one that actually I made from a template over here. I'll show you that one. So you can find, just like with the Lucky Star origami, you can find templates. This one's pretty cool. It already has the colors and numbers and everything printed out. And I had mentioned that Magic 8-ball too. So down here it has the instructions on how to make it, how to play it, whatever questions you want to ask, then you can use that fortune teller for the answers. Make a fun game out of it. So with this one that I had already done, it has the colors on the front at the very top with the wording. So what I like to do is, for example, if I was playing this game and someone told me pick a color, I'll pick red. Red has 3 letters in it, so you move it R-E-D. All right, pick a number. So then I'm gonna pick the number 1. So you then move it once in the opposite direction. All right. Now pick another number. This final number is the number that is going to end up being your fortune. So I'm going to pick 7, because why not? Lucky number 7, right? So number 7 in this fortune teller is saying, pretend you are an animal. So it's just some fun games, fun examples. This one is really neat. The next one next to it says do 10 star jumps. You could do some more, pat your head and rub your tummy, share a secret with a friend, and there's just a whole bunch more that you can have fun with. So I found this design online. There will be links that you guys will be able to take a look at for ideas, templates, and a list of supplies that you'll need. So I hope you guys enjoy this program, and we can't wait to see you back at the library soon. Bye.